The Redmi Note 9 Pro, can this phone overtake my previous favorite budget phone, which is the Redmi Note 8 Pro? What differences and upgrades does the Note 9 Pro have of the Note 8 Pro to make it the new budget king? With the Redmi Note 9 Pro, Redmi have made two key upgrades that I personally really like. The first one is that fingerprint sensor being moved to the side. I cannot tell you how much better it is on the side over on the back. It is a personal thing for me, but if you do have a fingerprint sensor, for me, the side is the best place for it. When you pick up the phone, you can register your thumbprint. So when you're picking it up, it essentially just unlocks the phone before you've even lifted the phone. It's definitely a good move, moving it from the back to the side. The design though, in general from the Note 8 Pro, they're very, very similar. A few small differences. They both have USB-C, they both have that mono speaker, a headphone jack, IR blaster as well. The Redmi Note 9 Pro actually has a bigger screen. And you also get this really modern 2020 design, the hole punch selfie camera. I don't think there's a huge difference between hole punches and notches. Maybe the notch takes up a little bit more of the screen. And the hole punch actually blends in when you're watching videos or playing games. It sort of blends in a little bit more, but definitely not a huge difference between them. What I do like about the design on the Note 9 Pro though is the edges and also the back. It's just a little bit more modern and it does fit in with all the rest of the Redmi designs. Like the Redmi K30 Pro, it has very similar edges, so it definitely looks similar to even that more expensive phone. So definitely a more modern design in the Note 9 Pro. Another big change from the Note 8 Pro definitely is the processor. The Note 8 Pro going with a MediaTek chipset, and that actually does give a lot of power for the price. But the Note 9 Pro switching into a Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset, the 720G. The reason they did this is because in the markets that this phone sells in, 5G is just not a thing right now, but in China 5G is a thing, so they have some separate phones for that market. But the 720G is an upgrade, a mid-range, budget mid-range chipset, but no 5G. Keeps the price down, but you get a good solid chipset in there from Snapdragon. The camera hardware from the Note 8 Pro actually hasn't changed too much. You get a 64 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide. This time you get a 5 megapixel macro and a 2 megapixel depth. However, because you've got the Snapdragon chipset in here, you do benefit from Snapdragon's ISP, the image signal processor, some image processing, and I think you get some really good results overall. I think the quality from the ultra-wide and in video has taken a fairly decent step up considering how close the phones are, about 6 months apart. It does give you a lot of options for this price, certainly. You get the ultra-wide. There is no zoom camera here, although in the camera app it does go to 2 times zoom automatically. You can zoom in all the way to 10 times zoom when you're taking photos, 6 times zoom when you're taking videos. Another thing that I really did notice over the Note 8 Pro is the haptics, and this is something that never really gets a lot of press or many people talking about it, but I think it's a really important aspect of the phone. On the Note 9 Pro, they're just a little bit more powerful, a little bit more clicky, rather than on the Note 8 Pro, which is definitely the older style of haptic feedback. It's quite dull and it's quite slow to react. So definitely on the Note 9 Pro, they have improved the haptics. So do we have a new budget king? Well, the Redmi Note 9 Pro isn't really a direct successor to the Note 8 Pro. It's definitely a slightly different phone. It's more modern, so you get the side-mounted fingerprint sensor. You get the hole punch cutout instead of the notch, but they are different processors. It is not just one generation to the next. So it's a different type of phone and definitely will appeal to a different type of audience. But considering the price and the Snapdragon chipset, the more modern design, I think it is definitely a really good budget phone. And Redmi have done yet another good job. Really, Redmi, the budget king brand, another great budget phone. Subscribe for all the latest tech news and videos. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.